Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Here recently I got in a little miniature haul of cologne fragrances. By miniature I mean 2. And today I'm going to be sharing those with you guys. One of them I've already worn, so I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. The other one is going to be a first impression. From Afnan Tarathi Brown, and this one I've already worn. So this is supposed to be a clone of YSL's Tuxedo, at least that's what I've heard. And that's why I picked it up. And also, one of you guys out there recommended that I do. And then Rasasi Daarej, and this is supposed to be a clone of Valentino's V, which is discontinued and goes for between $250 and $300 on eBay nowadays. Oof. You know me, big fan of discontinued fragrances, absolutely love them. So if there's a clone of a great discontinued fragrance that costs less than 10% the price of the discontinued one, you know I'm interested. And this one has been hyped for a long time, so I'm late to the party. With that out of the way, let's jump into it. Let's crack into these scents. Now we're going to start off with the Afnan Tarathi Brown. This one you can pick up for about $32 US, and actually both these fragrances I got from FragranceBuy.ca. FragranceBuy is a great place for fragrance clones because they carry more of them than FragranceNet or FragranceX. So a lot of stuff that you can't find at those discounters, you can find at FragranceBuy. As I said, this one was about $32. I think it might have been like 31 and some change or 32 and some change, but right around there. It's the conversion rate from Canadian to US that causes the fluctuations. Now this one, in typical Middle Eastern fragrance house fashion, is really hard to find a definitive note breakdown on. Some places have no note breakdown at all. Afnan's own website has fragrance notes in the top that are definitely not top notes. It's just all kind of a jumbled mess. Always seems like they can't really figure out exactly what they want the notes to be, and they just throw some stuff out there, you know, throw it against the wall and see what sticks. So yeah, with this one, you're gonna find multiple note breakdowns that are very different depending on where you look. So how does it smell to me? Does this smell like a Tuxedo clone? Is this another cheap alternative? Instead of mustache eau de parfum, should you just be trying to buy this and wear this? Well, is it a one-to-one Tuxedo clone? In my opinion, no, it isn't. Tuxedo is spicier, it's richer, and it's fresher. And Tuxedo is not a fresh fragrance, but when you spray on Tarathi Brown, it is syrupy the second it hits your skin, and it has a little bit of that oud-like tinge around the edges. So even though oud is not an official note here, it could be, and I wouldn't bat an eye. As it dries down, it does get closer to Tuxedo, but it still isn't as close as Mustache Eau de Parfum. So for me, if you're looking for an alternative to YSL Tuxedo, Mustache is still the way to go. I've sprayed this on side by side with Tuxedo. It is not that close that I would say you can replace Tuxedo with this. But that being said, in terms of quality, this stuff is great. $30, $32, whatever, really nice. Big time performance, a lot of depth, slightly challenging in the opening, but as it dries down, get this nice amber that comes out, along with a sort of dark vanilla, patchouli, and some florals. Let's look at the presentation really quickly and keep this moving. Here's the box, just a simple cardboard box. You have this thin metallic sort of plaque on the front here that looks like if you caught it right, it would kind of pop off. Then on the inside, you have this plastic cutout that the bottle sits inside of. Little information on the back as well. It's pretty simple. Then the bottle, it's okay. I mean, if you're accustomed to these Middle Eastern fragrance houses, sometimes they'll have bottles that are really horrifically cheap. This kind of splits the difference. It doesn't look fantastic, but it's okay. The cap is nice and heavy, and you do have to line it up properly to snap it back into place. Let's go ahead and crack into the Rasasi. Now, while the last fragrance is a great buy at $32, if you like a nice Middle Eastern syrupy sweet fragrance with bits of spice and florals, it's not directly close to a very expensive fragrance, at least not close enough to me, but this one should be. And this runs $20, so very cheap. Not too much going on with the box. It feels, frankly, cheap in the hand. It's got this like, yeah, you hear that? Just a cheap feeling to the cardboard, feels thin. But I don't care about that. It's all about the fragrance, and the bottle is cheap too, actually. Got an interesting shape to it, kind of like a star almost. Let's go ahead and spray this bad boy on. Atomizer's nice. Just waft that for a second. Don't go in and smell this immediately after spraying. I didn't let it waft enough and I got a big hit to my nose of rubbing alcohol. Ugh. Now it's settling. It smells nice. Yeah. Throwing me back. It's fresh and sweet. It does have a little bit of that throwback style to it, but in a great way. Very nostalgic feeling for me anyway. Got that little bit of sweetness that's starting to crop up and just kind of poke through that little bit of fresh spice in the opening. Nice and smooth, really well done. And if you knew nothing about the house, you knew nothing about what this was supposed to be a clone of, and you saw this box and this bottle and this super cheap cap and presentation and everything, you would think it's gonna be garbage. You know, that kind of stuff where you go into a fragrance outlet store or something like that, and the person comes up to you, the person that works there, and they shove a bottle of Armaf in your face or something way worse than Armaf, and they're like, hey, buy one, get one half off, only $120. That type of scent where you just have to look at them and just be like, nah, man, I know more than you. You would think it's gonna be one of those, but this is really good, especially as it settles. It's like a fragrance that needs to unfold. When you first spray it on, it has that rubbing alcohol tinge that settles, but it still hasn't really shown itself yet. You get, you know, a little bit of that spiciness, that fresh spiciness, a little bit of that sweetness, but it's like everything is still trying to find its place. And then once it settles in, really nice. Obviously, it is going to appeal more to people that rocked Valentino V back in the day. So if you were looking for an alternative to that scent, but you don't want to pay crazy prices, here you go. Because at this point, it's legitimately less than 10% the cost of the original. And at that point, it's hard to justify getting the original unless you just want it for your collection. So you can occasionally pull out the bottle, look at it, and reminisce about days gone by. It's got a green cardamom. It's got bits of vanilla, amber, tonka all coming out, melding together. So you get that sweetness, but in a more fresh sort of way. And some florals lending a touch of powder, but in a very pleasant way. So with these two fragrances combined, it's right at about $50 US. Maybe the packaging could be a little bit better, but on the whole, the quality in both of these, well worth the price. On the whole, another success. And again, a shout out to you. You know who you are, who recommended I pick this one up. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Like I said, both of these going to be linked down in the description below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for all your support. If you've smelled either of those, let me know what you think about them in the comments. And I will see you guys again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.